We're talking about the infrastructure bill and all these particular issues now. And what we have, Norman, is many times the right wing it's either they use right wing reporters or they set the narrative on Fox News, and all these guys they start to parrot what you get from Fox News. And that's what this reporter here did. This reporter went ahead and says, well, the Republicans are saying that if we come with the top line of $1 trillion or a little bit more, are you going to be able to say that's the top line that we want and we're going to go for it? And Jen Psaki really answered that in a rather profound manner. And a lot of people would look at it and just say, okay, she answered the question appropriately. But so often in the past, what we had is only a half of the question answered. What I like with what Jen Psaki does is she not only answers the question, but she throws back at the narrative that the other side is trying to put out. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Thanks, Jen. A couple more on infrastructure. Senator Wicker up on the Hill just said a little while ago, not only is the counteroffer going to be in the $1 trillion range, but he also said we're going to make an offer which will make it clear that we're not going to disturb the 2017 tax bill. If that is indeed the case, is there any way in which the White House would accept a counterproposal in which the 2017 tax bill is not touched?
That sounds like a question for Senator Wicker. What are they proposing instead to pay for it?
Well, I guess you guys need to see some of the details, but in terms of a top line, if that just flat out isn't touched, does that mean you guys can't come?
The proposal is about investing in infrastructure, creating millions of jobs, making sure we're competing with China and preparing our workforce. The president proposed a way to pay for it. We're waiting hear back from Republicans on how they would propose to pay for it. So if they don't want to touch the 2017 tax cuts, $2 trillion tax cuts that did not end up having a windfall back to the American public, I guess that's their choice what they put in their proposal. But they have to propose an alternative. So I guess I hope you ask Senator Wicker that question.
There is so much
Parroting the question.
in what she said there. Numero uno. She takes the question and she said they're bringing it out. Did they tell you how they're going to pay for it? No, but maybe you have to see it in turn. Maybe you should ask them how to pay for it. And then she comes out and she says, and this is important. A lot of people don't understand how important this is, because the Republicans constantly say they are for the people and the policies that they pass are for the people. But here's a kicker. She said, what about that $2 trillion tax cut? You said it was going to pay for itself. You said that it was going to go to the people. We now have the evidence that it didn't pay for itself. Instead, it increased the budget deficit. We also know for a fact that it didn't trickle down to the average person. We also know for a fact that it was used to do a whole lot of stock buybacks and all these other issues. Okay, it didn't work. So what we are proposing is to take back some of that tax cut. You are saying you have a top line. What is your top line, and how do you pay for it without people who make less than $400,000 each paying for it? I mean, these are simple questions. And then he said, now maybe you should go back and ask them that question. So what she did is she not only answered the question, she also did the necessary point that your policies have already been effected and they have proven not to have worked.
Right. So she's parroting the question back to a person who's asking a question that should have done the
homework.
Right. But at the same time, it's no fair for us having history.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden we remember what happened with the tax cut, right?
Right.
I mean, I think it is all great to always have a nice new little red herring for us to follow, not necessarily looking back and saying what happened.
Right.
And there is the result of trickle down economics does not work.
It doesn't work. Right.
So therefore, let's just see it. Let's just see it.
And I think that is what's so important with what she did there, because what happens is we tend to forget all the things in the past And by bringing that up again, it forces people to not have that fallacy that when the Republicans were in control, they gave a tax cut, and somehow this economic boom was a result of the tax cut. This economic boom was an economic boom in numbers only. In other words, if you make $10,000 and I make if you make $9,000 and I make $1,000, our average salary is $5,000, man.
Hey, you are rich, man.
But the truth of the matter is I'm still poor because I made 1,000 and he made 9,000. And we have to understand the numbers and how these things affected the economy. And the truth of the matter is the way they affected the economy was not for most people. 70% of Americans, hear me again, the numbers say 60%, but if you really do a little bit more micromanaging, 70% of Americans, if they have a $400 expense at the end of the month, it puts them in dire straits. Now, look, 30% of Americans are a lot of people. It's a lot of people. So a lot of us continue to spend. A lot of people continue to have that $400, and it seems like everything is okay. But you go and travel America, you go to Appalachia, you go to the ghettos, the barrios, and all these other places, and you start to see people that are suffering. And we don't see them on TV because the TV only cares about a narrative that makes a few look like they're always wanting, hey, you have a little bit of melanin, it's okay to show you in pain. But it's not okay to show our brothers and sisters in Appalachia because you know what? The majority of Americans are going to look back and say, oh my God, that could be me. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.